Ruck work. He's up against Jason Kelly of South Morang. The siren sounds behind us and we're away here. The Heidelberg Golf Club Division 3 first semi-final, and it's Keys who gets first hands to the ball. Mitch Buckley's in and under to start the game, and he's wrapped up in a tackle. Doug, no surprise to see Mitch Buckley at the bottom of the pack early in the contest.
No, that's right, and Jake Johnson was standing right next to him, so just watch for that, and he's doing it again now.
So Johnson with the big job on Mitch Buckley, as that one's won by Kelly of South Morang. Hit it behind him, but it was picked up by St Mary's there of Goulden, and they're pushing forward perhaps to get the first inside 50. The handball, though, went astray. The South Morang men back waiting for possession now. It's Stella Georges who picks up off half-back and sweeps the handball out, and now South Morang can push forward for the first time this afternoon. The kick towards centre wing didn't hit a target off hands, and it goes out of bounds as Dan Braskus doesn't bother chasing that one in for St Mary's. Any key matchups in that forward half? I see Toby O'Meara's gone deep. It looks like it might be Robinson there, so a big matchup there with O'Meara being a crucial player as the ball's slapped out of bounds again, but he's really straightened them up and given them a target to kick to in the most recent weeks.
That's right, and Robinson's been in fantastic form in the last month or two, so that'll be a critical matchup. If Robinson can hold O'Meara, that'll be a big plus for the Lions. As
the ball gets thrown back in and again off hands and goes out of bounds. Edger starts forward for St Mary's as well. He's been crucial throughout this year. Had some injury concerns, but has been in amongst their best in most games that he's played in 6 of his 10 games, and he's being manned by Potter as the ball now is slapped towards St Mary's, attacking 50, charging through and tackle and dispossessed as Goulden. Maybe lucky to get away with that one there. Now a chance for South Morang to propel themselves up to centre wing. The long kick went through the hands of Capici, and for the fourth time this afternoon the ball goes out of bounds. The boundary umpire on the far side certainly getting a fair work over early in proceedings.
That's right, and it looks like Lee Minners, is on Magames, down in the other end of the ground. The ball hasn't gone down there yet, however.
So it's still locked at centre wing here. A chance for St Mary's to push through. Another great tackle, and now South Morang take possession. The kick goes across the centre square, and a good mark taken overhead by Matthew Trim. They can quickly go forward now. It's a lovely kick as well, inside forward 50, and sneaking forward to take the mark is Luke Shelton. He's marked at 35 metres out directly in front, and Doug, as we know, Luke Shelton, one of the prime movers in the South Morang midfield.
Yeah, and he's going for a short pass here, Samuel.
He's gone off to look in the Harrison direction. Not sure why he didn't have a shot there. The kick was poor. It pitched in front of Harrison, and now it's St Mary's pushing forward. The kick went up to centre wing, and it's Dylan Ronalds who paddles it in front of himself. Couldn't quite rein it in, and an interesting option there by Shelton. It did seem to be well within scoring range.
And I was just about to say, he's well known as an inside midfielder and a tough guy, but his decision making is normally very good. He blotted his copybook on that occasion.
Well, 1-2 goal against the grain. It's the exception to prove the rule. As the umpire throws the ball back into play, Trim sockets it forward towards centre wing for South Morang, diving in low and getting it hard there with Shane Derham of St Mary's. Threw a handball out, didn't find a teammate, and the ball just pinballing around for the time being. Now a chance for St Mary's to push forward, and it was in the hands there of Johnson, who was dispossessed. He's still got it up to half forward though. St Mary's still with numbers. They can go inside 50 now if they can find a target by foot. The lead up target was Borado. The ball pitched before him. The St Mary's rather still have numbers at the fall of the ball. Ronalds was lurking, and South Morang content to just force that ball out of bounds. Once again, really hard to get a clean possession in the early stages of this game so far. The pressure's been right up as the umpire again readies himself to throw the ball back in. Dober to do the ruck work for St Mary's. The ball slapped inside 50. Perhaps here a scoring chance if the ball sits up. Good tackle laid. No, it's high. And St Mary's might go back and have the first shot at goal for the afternoon. And the man who got in low to win the football is Isaac Edger. I'm sure, Doug, he'll go back and have a shot from a similar distance to what Shelton had the previous ball, but on a much tighter angle this time around.
Yes, and it's a little bit surprising to see him up forward. He's often in the midfield. I haven't actually seen him kick for goal, so we'll see how he goes here.
Well, Isaac Edger, 7 goals in his 16 senior games across 3 different clubs. His kick's going to go right to the line. It was touched on the last line. It's been socketed on the line, but it was across the face. Was a minor score. So St Mary's start the scoring here with a minor score, and they are 1 behind. South Morang is yet to score as the umpire prepares to bring the ball back into play.
Keep going, keep going.
And you can hear the South Morang bench behind us wanting to move the ball on quickly now. So the kick in from Harley Ryan was poor to Della Georges, who was just able to trap it, and at his knees gets it over the top to Capici, whose kick was good. And he's got Jake Potter, who just sharks a left foot kick out wide to Harley Ryan. And Ryan's kick up centre wing is poor again. His second time he's turned it over, and it's cut off and marked by Castanini here for St Mary's. So he goes into the corridor now, and St Mary's can push forward through Nick Dean. A long kick to the hot spot off hands. No one home at ground level for St Mary's, so it's picked up by Jake Potter. Potter kicks the ball into the centre of Whittlesea Showgrounds. In dispute, Ronalds just picks up, broke through a tackle, kicked an up and under ball into 30 metres out from goal. Lots of numbers around the footy. Ben Powers there first for South Morang. He dives on the footy, goes at it again. And now it's Mitch Buckley in there. He's lost possession. Bolrado held with at the footy, allowed to go on. Picked up at ground level again by Power. And South Morang, well, they nearly could have get it out of there. The handball wasn't tidy. And there'll be a ball up inside, attacking 24 St Mary's there. Forward pressure's been good early on.
It has. Now, just harking back to that kicking, I'll come back to that later as plays restarted.
As the umpire throws the ball back up again, the pack converges. I don't think this one's coming out, so the umpire calls for the footy once again.
Now, when Harley Ryan kicked it out, the kick wasn't great, but Capici was way out on his own on the forward flank, so as soon as his teammate got under pressure, that was an easy release for his teammate.
As Mitch Buckley throws the handball out from the throw-in and the ball up, rather. Potter's kick was a grubber on the ground. Kelly, below his knees, couldn't quite pick it up 40 out from his defensive goal. St Mary's man was held with at the footy there. It's Nick Dean, and he will get a free kick in a similar position to Isaac Edger a few moments ago. This time 10 metres closer in, and Nick Dean can go back and perhaps put the first major on the board. He'll go back and shoot from 30 metres out on a 45-degree angle. So Nick Dean, for the first goal of this first semi-final, he comes in, he starts his approach on 40, his shot on goal is looking pretty good, the umpire hasn't moved, and Nick Dean has the first goal of the first semi-final for St Mary's. They are 1-7. South Morang hasn't scored, and Doug, it's a positive start for the Borough in their first finals appearance since 2012.
Yes, and they look a little bit more settled just early on. South Morang have had a couple of fumbles, a couple of poor decisions, and St Mary's have started well. They really need to be in front, I guess, at quarter time because they have the scoring end, but they seem to have settled quicker.
Yeah, the wind's certainly not as strong as yesterday, but for whatever reason, there seems to always be more scoring done at the club room end of the ground as Ashby Smith now contests the ruck for St Mary's. Ball hits the deck, picked up at ground level by Houston of South Morang. His handball didn't find a teammate. Costanzo picked up, got it out to Ronalds, and St Mary's are pushing forward once again. The kick towards half forward was shallow, off hands at the back of the pack there. Is it Bolrado again? O'Meara's there as well, and the ball goes out of bounds, and there'll be a throw in right on 50 metres where the 50-metre arc intersects the boundary line. And the umpire throws it back into play. Kelly doing the ruckwork here for South Morang rather. Potter got over the top. Ball now kicked out of defensive 50 for South Morang, but it's thrown off the side of the boot there. The kick coming out from young Houston, and it ends up out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, very good pressure by Lucci then to force that error.
Well, they've just locked South Morang in their defensive half, haven't they, for the opening stages of this game. 7 minutes since. South Morang's gone into 50 just once. Costanzo's kick that was dangerous, but a good mark taken on the chest by Castanini. And now he will send St Mary's back inside 50. The ball then 40 metres out from goal. The St Mary's man got a handball out to Isaac Edger, whose left foot shot on goal won't be a goal. It's not even going to score because picked up on the last line there by Matthew Robinson, who kicks the ball long outside defensive 50. It might have ended up out in the full. So another chance here for St Mary's as Derham goes quickly, cuts inside. Well, the kick was great to Tolley, but he dropped the chest mark. Now Heatley gets involved for South Morang. He's under pressure now. The ball pinballs out. Derham goes in again. He throws the ball in the boot, but only went as far as Harrison, not 15. He handballs back, and now South Morang can push forward. This is Daniel Watson. Kick was partially smothered though, so the ball's still in the centre square and it's ping-balling around. Picked up nicely by Capici. Shot a ball out to Johnston that was too hot for him to catch. He goes in again. Great tackle though there by Costanzo. Ball still in dispute. The umpire might blow his whistle here. And it's a free kick. It's holding the ball, so he's saying that the player dived on the footy without making an attempt to get it out. And it's Nick Johnston to have a shot at goal here for South Morang.
A little bit harsh on Dupont. He did all the hard work and unfortunately wasn't able to get the ball out.
And Johnston with a trademark floater kicked it to the top of the goal square. McGarmas couldn't rein in the mark, and now it's St Mary's with the numbers, and they'll rebound out of defence. So they are at defensive 50. Isaac Edger's going to get a handball here. He can kick it up towards centre wing. His kick was a good one. It was a penetrating one, and the strong mark was taken in front of the eyes there by Dover, who turned around quickly, kicked in the direction of O'Meara, worked his man under the ball at ground level. He was pretty good as well. Outbodies another opponent now. He's forced to be tackler. He goes to ground. South Morang with numbers. A good tackle laid again by O'Meara, and the umpire calls for the footy in the forward pocket.
And the Just bear with me here. St Mary's are just moving the ball slightly better when they are out of congestion with handball than South Morang at the moment, but early days.
So a lot of territory with St Mary's here, lots of numbers around the ball, and again the umpire will call for it. The conditions, Doug, at the moment pretty overcast. It is dark on that far side. I don't think rain's all that far away from us here, so St Mary's would love to put more score on the board with their early advantage here. They've kicked the 1-goal 1-7 as we approach the 10-minute mark. South Morang hasn't scored, but if the rain came down, they wouldn't mind having a couple more goals buffer, and then hope to obviously lock the game down with the wet conditions. As the ruckmen go at it once again, Dover won it down to the front. It was picked up by Ronald, who just wheeled around and threw a shot on the boot, and it was just wide, so it's a minor score for St Mary's. They go to 1-goal 2-8. South Morang hasn't scored. We've gone 10 minutes in the opening term.
Yeah, and St Mary's are doing all the attacking at the moment, but they need to make use of this because they won't have the momentum the whole game. They need to make use of it while they've got the momentum.
So the ball now to be brought back in by Harley Ryan.
A big huddle at centre half forward.
And which way will they break? They're going to go straight down the middle with the kick. So Jason Kelly's going to be the long target. Coming in over the top and spoiling was Golden. Fell to the front of the pack where Edgy got another handball. He's been prominent early. Sharked out wide. Dambraskas couldn't control the bouncing footy, and off feet the ball trickles out of bounds for a throw in. Just the matchups inside South Morang's attacking 50. You can see that Harrison and also McGarmas have started deep forward, but they haven't had really much ball to deal with in the opening 10 minutes of the game.
And it looks like Dupont, from what I can see here, is on Harrison. And Minna was on Magarmes.
So as Shane Derham kicks the ball inside forward 50 again for St Mary's as the pack emerges, and there'll be another ball up, 40 out from St Mary's attacking goal. They're kicking to the clubroom end in this first term, leading 1-2-8 to South Morang, yet to score. Jason Kelly won the hit out, but it only went as far as Adam Lucci. Lucci now gets a handball out. It's in the hands of Ronalds, hemmed up on the boundary line. He goes back by hand as the rain starts to come down here at the Whittlesea Showgrounds. St Mary's kicking the ball forward. It's hemmed up close to the line. As it kept in, it is just paddled in almost netball style, and a shot from the pocket isn't bad. It's there.
And that's Dylan Ronalds.
Fantastic goal by Ronalds. He's been probably the best player out there with his teammates in Isaac Edger, and he's kicked St Mary's second goal for the day. They are 2 goals, 2-14. South Morang hasn't scored, and this is a dream start for Con Borgside.
That's right, and that was a great kick because he was deep. He basically was on the boundary line, under pressure, and about 35 metres out.
Yeah, they actually did really well in the lead-up, didn't they, to not let that ball go out of bounds. It was a paddle back in the play rather than a marking attempt. It was a push into the path of Ronalds, and he was so clean. We've seen his ability to break the tackle as well on 2 occasions already, as Ashby Smith won it down to Minners, but he couldn't control it. Now Shelton got it off to Johnston, who kicks South Morang long inside 50, and a great mark's taken in the front spot by Kane McGarmas. He just held sway in that contest there. He is a big frame to try and out-muscle, and he'll go back now and kick from point-blank range.
Yeah, and once he had their front spot, there was no way his opponent was going to get around him. And this is a good response from South Morang. They needed to do something before the game was getting too far away from them.
So they were 14. They do still trail by 14 points as McGarmas will come in. He'll shoot from all of 15 metres out directly in front. It was a strong mark. It all came from that long kick in from Nick Johnston, and McGarmas now from point-blank range. He's been their leading goal scorer this year, and he has not let them down in the opening stages of this one here. Kane McGarmas kicks an important goal for South Morang, and they move to 1 goal straight 6. St Mary's is 2-2-14. McGarmas now in his first season at South Morang has kicked 53 goals, this being his 19th game. He's been a great addition for the Lions.
He has indeed, and this game is mirroring South Morang's season. They got off to a very sluggish start, but then they got going. Let's see if they can continue this momentum like they have in the year.
So Mitch Buckley takes a spell on the sideline, so it's a different setup in the middle of the ground. Daniel Heatley goes in for South Morang, and it's going to be Keys going up against Kelly, who's on the bulk of the ruck work. Neither ruckman got a hand on it. Shelton tried to slap it forward South Morang's way. Ronald's got it instead, and now St Mary's kick themselves towards centre half forward. Bolorado, one of the targets, smacked down by Wolsko. Now the ball in dispute, trying to push forward there. Bolorado couldn't quite. Big tackle laid in the middle of the ground by Daisley, and the umpire's calling for the ball.
And the pressure contest has been won by St Mary's. Their pressure around the ball has been excellent early.
It's certainly been in the forefront of the game so far, as trying to kick a kick forward there was Lucci, but it was smothered, and now South Morang can go quickly the other way. Capici left foot kick into the pocket was a good one. McGarmas just couldn't quite get there outstretched. Now he's forced to be tackler, and the ball trickles out of bounds. So again, nice transition work there by South Morang. They've really hurt St Mary's in the past 2 contests when the ball's ricocheted back the other way. So the umpire throws it in just inside 50 here for South Morang, kicking to the northern end of the Whittlesea Showgrounds. St Mary's with numbers at this contest zone. They throw a kick out wide. Costanzo couldn't quite mark it. Running back with the flight. Now he paddles towards centre wing. It's South Morang with numbers. Potter picks up on centre wing. Broke a tackle. Now goes back by hand to Sulliston, who was just stripped of the footy there. Nice work by Dober, and there'll be a throw in at centre wing as Mitch Buckley comes back onto the ground. So too Ben Neshi, who'll ruck for the first time of the afternoon for South Morang. The umpire throws the ball in. Neshi works his way to the front of the spot, hits it to the hot spot where Meredith was there. Couldn't control it, but he'll win a free kick for a push in the back, and the first time we're seeing Craig Meredith this afternoon.
Yeah, and that was fortunate for South Morang because St Mary's were often gone had that free kick not been paid.
It was a lovely kick up the line, and he's found now Nick Johnston, who's been prominent early on. Johnston, and he kicks towards the forward pocket. Harrison the target, getting back Keys, dropped what he probably should have taken there for St Mary's. No one else went up. Now the ball in dispute. The umpire will probably call for this one. Lots of numbers around the ball. You just feel, Doug, in the past 2 minutes or so that South Morang's really settled into the contest.
Yeah, they have, and it's important that they take advantage of this slight momentum swing.
Of course, St Mary's kicking the opening 14 points of this game. 2 goals, 2. They're going to work off half back here. The ball bounced nicely for Daisley, and now running away is Dan Braskus. He's got a man over the top who he can handle to. This is Dober. Dober now looks inside 50. The left foot kick was shallow, and the man who'd worked his way to the front of the pack was Robinson, who took the mark on the chest. He can switch across his defensive 50. It was a poor kick though. Didn't quite get there. It hung up for too long. Ronald's intercepted. Handball to the goal square, and O'Meara kicks the goal on the goal line. Is going to be paid. Confirmation there, it's a goal to Toby O'Meara, and that is a coach killer, isn't it, Doug? A kick across the face of goal that was shallow.
A disaster, and it was only about a metre off being nice, but just that 1 metre, and then suddenly Ronalds was able to come in, intercept, and get the long handball into the goal square.
There's no doubting it. It was the right option. That the play was certainly on to switch, but the kick just hung up too long. It just gave Ronalds too much of a view to get across and make the spoilers. St Mary's now moved to 3-2-20. South Morang 1 goal straight 6.
That's correct, and if you can't get the kick right, you're better off just to kick right down the line, and even if it goes out of bounds, at least you've got a contest there.
Well, it's the percentage play, isn't it? As the infringement is laid in the middle of the ground. It's against Neshi for crashing into Ryan Keys. So the former Reservoir man gets a free kick inside the centre circle. He handballs quickly, and now Ronald sends St Mary's long inside 50 once again. No one could take a mark deep inside that forward 50, and the umpire calls for the ball for a ball up. 30 out directly in front of the St Mary's goal, leading in the early stages here by 14 points. Dober won the ruck contest, but it was picked up by Daniel Watson of South Morang. Threw a kick out wide, and the man running back and taking a fine grab was Nick Johnston, and he might have hurt himself here. The diving attempt, his head crashed into the knee of the St Mary's opponent, and Nick Johnston looks in a bit of hurt at the moment.
Yeah, and that was a courageous mark because he just went for the ball knowing there was pressure coming, and he has covered more ground than the early settlers in the early part of this game. He's right in the defensive 50. He's been right down full forward, across to the wings, and that's the typical style of the way he plays.
He does like to get around the ground. His kick, though, wasn't great. It's going to be turned over now. St Mary's on the counter. The kick into the pocket. Well, Johnson was forced to be spoiler. He did really well up against O'Meara, and he's picked the ball up. No, the boundary line has beaten him, but his kick out of the fence was to a 50-50, and the ball was intercepted by Daisley, and they've fortunately got away with one there because he was really good defensively to spoil away from Toby O'Meara. So the umpire throws the ball in. It's going to be Dober who wins the ruck contest over Neshi. The ball falls to the front of the pack. It's another shot on goal. It's there. It's another goal to St Mary's, kicked from the pocket, and they move now to 4 goals to 26. South Morang is 1 straight 6. I didn't quite pick up. It might have been, was it Edger who kicked the goal there from the front of the pack? And
I'm not sure.
St Mary's is off to an absolute flyer.
I might just check the goal kickers with St Mary's a quarter time, Samuel, because there's been a few kicked from that outer forward flank, and it's been a bit difficult to see who was doing it sometimes.
It looked to be Edger from mine. He was at the front of the pack there, and it's a dream start here for St Mary's. They're now 20 points in front in the first quarter and nearly driving forward once again. Daisley, who's been prominent, was just stripped of the footy as he went to run away, and there'll be a ball up for secondary stoppage as there's a bit of flare heats up in the middle there between both Johnston and Mitch Buckley, as Neshi won that one down, but only as far as Johnston, and now his handball was up in the air. It wasn't well controlled initially by Edger, but he did well to lock it in.
He did well because there was about 4 South Morang opponents around him. If that ball had got out, it would have been down inside forward 50 for the Lions by now.
As there's a man, there's a Buckley there, was just slow to get to his feet. Looks to be okay now. We're getting closer to time on in this first quarter, so St Mary's, they'd be content with where they sit, but obviously there's still plenty of work to do. They've dominated the territory so far in this game and kicked 4 of the opening 5 goals to be 4 goals to 26. South Morang 1 goal straight, ticks that goal coming through Kane Magamas as the umpire throws the ball off once again. And St Mary's, well, they got it forward, but only as far as Harley Ryan, who sends a long ball to left half forward for South Morang. The foot race is on. Jordan Steele went to ground, which put him out of the contest, and fortunately for he was able to ricochet the ball into the path of Reagan Tatum off his leg. The ball catapulted out of bounds for a throw-in. Still half forward for South Morang here. They need a response. They are trailing by 20 points on the scoreboard, and they just can't get their hands on the footy in the opening stages of this game. Maybe a chance here. No, the man fell into the back of Jake Johnston, and he'll get a free kick on half-back. He's been good early on.
That's right, he has. He has been good, and Daniel Caruso has just come onto the ground. He's someone that South Morang need a lift from. We haven't seen much of him so far.
So the ball now with St Mary's. They're going to go right across the arc of 50, and they've got the ball on the far side now. And a little chip over the top was in the direction there of, it wasn't Edger, in fact, it might have been Castanini who got a handball out wide. And look at them moving through waves here. Well, an easy chest mark was dropped on centre wing, but they've still got runners through the middle here, and they're going to push towards half forward by hand. It was an ill-directed handball, though. That was, I think, from Minez who'd pushed forward. Really no one there. Almost a handball for touch in the end, and they're able to get a throw in.
And Castanini was very good under pressure there. He made a little error, but he was able to get a good handball out into space.
As, again, going up unmanned in that ruck contest was Dylan Ronalds, who's been so good so far this afternoon, and he's just able to paddle the ball on at 20 metres or so for a throw-in. Now, again, inside St Mary's attacking 50. As only the ruckmen are at this stoppage, and a free kick's paid off the ball, and it's going St Mary's way. It looks like it might have gone against Goulden there, so it's in the hands now of Mitch
actually going to South Morang, and I have, sorry Samuel, I've got no idea whatsoever what it was for.
Yeah, I saw Buckley was pushed to the ground there off the ball there by Goulden, so South Morang ball, I correct myself there, and it's Mitch Buckley, 40 out from his defensive goal, kicks towards right half back. No one really flew for it other than Keys, who just fisted it forward for St Mary's. At ground level, Potter, with handball, was stripped, and now St Mary's can go inside 50. The kick to the pocket was looking for Toby O'Meara, but it was wide, and so wide that it's out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, and Toby O'Meara had about 3 opponents there, so that going out on the bounce would have been a fairly good option, but now South Morang are whisking the ball out of defensive 50.
And they kicked the ball towards Truman with the mark on the chest, and he was spoiled from behind. A nice bit of work there by Gedge. Kicked inside 50 by Edger. He was looking for, but unable to find Goulden, and now it's South Morang with numbers as Mitch Buckley used all the time he could. He was bumped heavily as he kicked, and it only got to right half back, and there'll be a throw-in as the man of St Mary's in Jane Durham just watches the ball trickle out of bounds. 26 plays 6. We've gone 22 minutes in this first quarter as the umpire throws the ball back into play. Durham, who's been busy, he was wrapped up in a big tackle though that time. They couldn't quite dispossess of the footy, but again St Mary's are able to pick it up out of congestion, and they can move towards forward 50. They've got men on the outside here. The kick inside 50 though wasn't the greatest. A great bit of defensive work by Bolrado. They just spoiled, but Harley Ryan, the only man there of South Morang, kicks to Jordan Steele, who dropped the chest mark but had time to pick up the crumbs and kicks into the corridor. He found Houston, who in turn got it over the top to the late inclusion in Dixon, back to Steele, who just rushed his kick, and it only got as far as the co-captain in fact not the co-captain, it's one of the leaders though, Lucci for St Mary's, who kicks up the line, and now it's a foot race with the St Mary's man leading the contest there. This is Tolley, couldn't quite take possession, and he might win a free kick for a hold here. He will. It was a late call, but he's got the ball now.
And he was being held actually as the ball was going over the boundary line, so it was sort of like a photo finish in a sense.
He kicks towards forward 40. It was dropped by Robinson, fell to O'Meara. Now Edger centering ball. Who's going to fly for this one? It's a 2-on-2. Ball hits the deck. Johnston just paddles towards his defensive goal, and they're content to rush a point, but it was almost nonchalant there. It allowed the St Mary's man to get back and really apply some pressure there in Bolrado, and the kick in, well, it just gets to Johnston, but only after he marked over Goulden.
Yeah, and once again, St Mary's pressure has been the difference in between the two sides, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they're just able to win those 50-50 balls as well. So often we've seen them having the numbers around the contest and driving the ball forward as South Morang have the footy in hand of Della Georges, who hugged the boundary line. That was very close to going out in the full. Marked by Matt Trim. And now Matt Trim kicks South Morang towards centre wing. Saliston flew, but he couldn't take the mark and was picked up by Ronalds. Wheeling ball towards half forward, off hands again. It's St Mary's with numbers at the fall of the ball. The handball came out to Goulden, who in turn handballed out to Johnston. Pushed away a would-be tackler. Handball's inside. Now a chance. Goulden, standing start on 50. Kicks it right to the line, off hands, and in for a minor score. So they're peppering the goals. There's no doubt about that, St Mary's.
They're doing all the attacking, Samuel, and they could almost be a little bit further in front, in fact.
We'd almost feel that, it's 8 scoring shots to 1. They lead by 22. They'd be happy to be in front, but you're right, they've had all the scoring opportunities, and South Morang's one goal really came on a turnover where Magamas was just so strong to take the mark as well. So they've had to manufacture their one score with St Mary's is driving the ball forward at will here, and they might have another chance here because they've turned the ball over at half forward. The ball went to get handballed inside. This is now picked up by Gedge. Couldn't quite get it out. Now they're moving. The handball came out from Lucci. Now a kick towards half forward is marked. It looks like it's Johnston on the far side. They want men to switch into the middle of the contest, of the ground rather, but his kick was poor, and it's intercepted mark taken there by Dixon, who kicks inside for Trim, who's getting busy now for South Morang. He shorts one into Harrison, who didn't quite get there. Reagan Tate came inside. He intercepted for St Mary's. He marks just forward of the centre circle for the Borough, and he kicks a long one. Who's home? Boarato!
Oh, that was a fantastic mark by Boarato. Great judgment. He just floated across the back of the pack. The ball just went over his South Morang opponent, and he's marked 15 metres out directly in front.
He just read it better, didn't he? The South Morang players had all perched 5 metres forward of the drop of the ball. He floated in from the back. He dived in and almost pirouetted in the air. It was a nice take. He protected the drop, and he'll go in on his left foot and pop through another one. St Mary's off to an absolute flyer in the first semi-final. 5 goals for 34 the Borough. South Morang 1 goal straight 6, and they just seem a bit shell-shocked at the moment.
They are. And when that ball came in, the South Morang defenders all looked in the perfect position, but they just misjudged, and the ball had a little bit of extra carry, and Boarato was just, as you said before, great judgment. And he marked it without even being an opponent touching him.
Well, he was the only one who went up, and we've seen that a couple of times in marking contests that St Mary's had the numbers at the contest and the only men going up. We saw it earlier when Keys, of course, elected to spoil rather than mark, but so many times they've just had, I guess, more vigour at the contest as Ashby Smith just goes up and smashes it forward 30 metres for St Mary's, but the man picking up the ball is Meredith of South Morang. His kick across the face of goal was dangerous. It allowed a good look for Goulden, who paddled, and now a good tackle laid from behind. That was there made by Wolsko of St Mary's, and the umpire calls for the ball. They're just hunting in packs, aren't they?
They are. They're tackling, and Wolsko would have got the free kick, except unfortunately it was his tackle that knocked the ball out.
As he now gets a flying shot on goal that goes out of bounds on the full, but obviously it's a final. Every side's up for the contest, but St Mary's just seems that more inspired at the moment. They are 5-4-34, leading South Morang 1 goal straight 6. We've gone nearly 20 or just over 27 minutes now in this first quarter, and their advantage is 28 points as Buckley kicks across the face of goal, but the umpire says no, he's got to go back over the boundary line.
And when St Mary's players are under pressure, they've always got a teammate there ready for the handball, ready for the release.
So it is now in the hands of Mitch Buckley, who slipped as he kicked it, but he still got it 50 metres up the line. Kelly worked his way to the front for South Morang, couldn't take the mark. Saliston's at ground level, so too Costanzo, and there'll be a ball up right forward pocket here for St Mary's, 50 metres out from their goal. They've kicked 5 of the opening 6 goals to lead this contest by 28 points. Luke Shelton, who's been quiet, got a handball, but only as far as DuPont, who double-fisted the ball forward. He got it to Della Georgia, so only of South Morang, who handballed over the top to Harrison, who only got a toe poke on that ball there, and Costanzo was happy to let it go out of bounds. And the siren sounds on a fantastic quarter of footy for the St Mary's Football Club. At quarter time, the Borough lead 5-4-34. South Morang 1 goal straight 6, and Doug Long, St Mary's, after only just getting their final spot last week in the dying stages of, I guess, of the home and away season.
14-7 in the first quarter, and the inside 50s they had recorded as 14-6.
So the umpire now throws the ball aloft, and we're underway in the second quarter. Can South Morang manufacture a comeback here? They're going to go forward with the first forward 50 of the term, as the ball wasn't being able to mark their running back with the flight. Looked to be Dan Braskus. Now he's forced to be tackler. He dispossessed his South Morang opponent. Now the ball's in dispute. Shelton lurks around the back. Costanzo's there now. Shelton, he handballs out wide for Trim under pressure. Can he wheel the ball around? He can. He's got it right to the goal line. line, off hands, Harrison couldn't take the mark.
That was a good centering ball by Trim. He had to get a lot of hook on it to get it to a dangerous spot, and it could have almost been a major out of it.
So behind there to Matt Trim off hands, and South Morang's first blemish for the day. They're 1-1-7. St Mary's is 5-4-34 and bringing the ball into play for the first time for the afternoon. The kick was wide. It favoured those South Morang with more numbers there, but Daniel Watson just lost his footing at the wrong time, but he'll get a free kick for a high tackle there. So Daniel Watson with the ball in hand now. On attacking 50, Watson wheels around, kicks into the pocket. There's really no one flying for that ball. Spoiling from behind for St Mary's was Lee Minners, and there'll be a throw in 30 out. Doug, the condition of the ground out there at the break, obviously a bit of rain going down in that first term, and some yesterday as well. How's the ground held up?
We have had a bit of rain, but the conditions underfoot are pretty good. There's no real heavy patches at this stage, so as long as we don't get too much rain, they can play almost dry weather football.
As from that throw in, there's no one able to get a clean possession, and the umpire calls for the ball once again. So it's locked inside South Morang's attacking 50. This is something they were unable to do right through the first term. They've started the second quarter with a bit more forward pressure here, but it's Ronalds who extracts, and for the third time today just breaks away from a tackle, kicks long more in hope than anything else. The long lead was from Edger, but it pitched 20 metres in front of he, and off the bounce the ball went out sideways and in for a throw in here, so it's still a good 70 out from South Morang's attacking goal, but they trailed here 1-1-7 to St Mary's 5-4-34.
And South Morang have started the quarter well. Now with the inside 50s being 14-6 in the first quarter, it seemed like it was almost more than that just from the player we saw.
Certainly the momentum was right with St Mary's right through that first quarter, as off the throw in, Mitch Buckley couldn't quite pick the footy up. Hewson was there in support, he handballed backwards, and now Daniel Watson out off half back kicks up the line, but his kick is terrible, no one home whatsoever, and it just allowed Dylan Ronalds to intercept with an easy mark overhead. Ronalds now kicks long up the line. Who's his target? Edges around the back of the pack there. He won't get there. He was looking initially for was it the man there in Goulden. He couldn't take the mark, and now South Morang are kicking towards half forward, but it's the kick at the moment. Nicholas Dean just goes in from the side and takes an easy intercept mark. Can he spot up a target now as St Mary's drive forward? He kicks to a 2-on-2 there, but getting back and taking a great chest mark for South Morang was Daniel Watson. Let's see if he can kick it to a teammate this time around. He goes up looking for Potter, who flew from the front, couldn't take the mark. At ground level, Ronalds got in lowest there. He was up against Steele. Steele did really well there to lock the ball up, but St Mary's, through sheer weight of numbers, are able to extract. Durham now kicks towards high half forward over the head there of the man in Goulden, slapped out by Watson, and now picked up by Harley Ryan, who goes back by hand to Robinson, who's working close to the boundary line. He was tackled, and he's fortunate there. The St Mary's faithful wanted holding the ball. The umpire said throw it in.
And immediately you can see that South Morang's pressure and effort around the ball's better this quarter. Unfortunately, their field kicking has let them down once or twice.
As the umpire throws it back in, and St Mary's who kick towards their attacking goal line, and off the bounce the ball goes out of bounds, so there'll be a throw in. 20 out from the St Mary's goal, kicking to the northern end. South Morang can't afford a goal to go through here, Doug.
No, we can't. And we talked about Jake Johnson being on Mitch Buckley. Well, now he's on Luke Shelton.
So he's got the lockdown job today, as winning that ruck contest there was Dover. Couldn't quite find a teammate. Ball in dispute, tackle laid by South Morang. And there'll be a ball up. That man making the tackle was Michael Della Georgis of the Lions, as Daniel Heatley just works his way back onto the ground here. So the ball's still deep in St Mary's attacking forward 50, and for the third time the umpire is forced to blow the whistle and call for the ball. Still locked up deep in St Mary's attacking 50. Costanzo's down here for the stoppage as well. There's lots of numbers around it, so it's hard to win a clean ball here. As the umpire throws the ball up again, Jason Kelly, one at the back. Watson couldn't quite find possession. Ball off hands and now picked up by Harley Ryan, who wheeled around on the left foot, kicked it towards defensive 50. Off hands there, Caruso couldn't take clean possession, and the ball is out of bounds for a throw-in. 55 out from St Mary's attacking goal.
And they've been attacking for the last minute or two. They'd love to get the opening goal of this quarter against the slight breeze.
So it's up to Dean to do the ruck work again for St Mary's. He got it down only as far as Johnston, who was stripped of the ball in a tackle, and now St Mary's can go inside 50 again, but a great tackle was laid on Derham, and the umpire will call for the ball. 70 out from St Mary's goal in front of the scoreboard, which reads South Morang 1-1-7, St Mary's 5-4-34. It's a 27-point advantage. We've gone 5 minutes in this second term. Of course, the winner progressing through to next week's preliminary final against Watsonia as Dan Braskus comes charging in off centre wing for St Mary's. He kicks a long one in the path there of, O'Meara was leading to the pocket. He couldn't quite get there. Boerado was there as well. And there'll be a ball up in the pocket. Dan Braskus again having a real good impact in this game this afternoon.
That's right. And South Morang are matching St Mary's for intensity, but they just need to lift their skill level to get back into this game.
Yeah, quite often they've just kicked out and hope, haven't they? Haven't been able to hit up a target really through true centre-half forward at any point in this game so far, and St Mary's just have that ability to break the lines more often. So still only early days though, but a chance here for St Mary's, but a free kick was paid prior to a shot at goal there by Walsco, and it's going to go South Morang's way for a hold. So the ball will go back to the South Morang man. It looks like it might be Nick Johnston, who has covered plenty of ground in this opening 40 minutes of the game. He kicked it up the line, but the umpire said he didn't go over his mark, so he's forced to go and kick again now as he gets the ball back from a teammate.
Yeah, and it seems that he's been moved to defence. I'm not sure if it's that actually, or he's just covering ground as he normally does.
And he kicks across the face of goal to Della Georges, who dropped an absolute sitter. Now he's upended his St Mary's opponent there. He was really slack in his attempt to mark that ball there. He almost sold it before he had actually taken the mark, and it slipped through, and he's very fortunate that Edger went to ground there and didn't take possession at ground level, as Edger now lays a massive tackle, and there'll be a ball up deep in the left forward pocket for the Borough.
And once again, South Morang's skills just letting them down a little bit, and St Mary's have been cleaner with the ball and cleaner with the ball transference.
As the ball is now locked up once again, as a good tackle there laid by Houston of South Morang. So no goals in the opening 7 minutes of this second quarter, just the one score. In fact, it was a minor score to South Morang off the boot of Matt Trim as the umpire throws the ball up. Jason Kelly wins the ruck contest, paddled out the back, but Johnson couldn't keep it from going out of bounds, so there'll be a throw in, 50 out from St Mary's goal. The opening 3 minutes of this quarter played entirely in South Morang's attacking 50. Now the past 3 or 4 all in St Mary's attacking 50. So the ball's thrown in. It got over the back of both ruckmen there. Reynolds tapped it towards his St Mary's goal face. Now the ball's in dispute. Can anyone get a soccer off the ground? Della Georges was there. He was wrapped up as soon as taking possession, and there'll be a ball up in the St Mary's goal square.
And South Morang will be looking for a bit of a lift from Luke Shelton. He hasn't really got into the game much so far.
He nor Mitch Buckley. They're both at this contest here. Kelly just threw the ball onto the boot into a dangerous spot. Shelton's there now. He threw a handball out to Harley Ryan. Got a little toe poke out of defensive 50. Now here's a chance for the Lions. They kick towards their own attacking 50, but there's no one really home. The man charging from well back is Caruso and also Capici. Caruso with running towards the face of goal. Capici against it, and in the end neither could keep it in from going out of bounds, and there'll be a throw in, 55 out from South Morang's attacking goal. Is doing the ruck work and doing nicely there was Capici. Got it down to Shelton, who kicked a high ball inside 50, getting there first. Castanini on the slide. He was able to just trap it at ground level and slide out of bounds. There'll be a throw in, 40 out from South Morang's goal. They must score a goal early in this quarter.
You think so? And right on cue, Luke Shelton starting to get back into the game here.
They've just got to get something to get into the minds, I guess, of the St Mary's players. At the moment, the game feels like it's played on St Mary's terms. Here's a chance now. The ball handball towards the attacking goal face for South Morang. Harrison was lurking, forced to lay the tackle there. Keys with the shepherd for St Mary's. The handball over the top didn't find Lucci, but there's a free kick for a hold paid, and it's going to go St Mary's way, and it's in the hands of Jordan DuPont.
Jordan DuPont's got the job today on Paul Harrison, and Harrison yet to score a major.
Yeah, it hasn't. I guess he's been. Hasn't really had many opportunities.
No, that's correct.
When
the ball hasn't been down there much.
When it has, DuPont's been right on his hammer there. As Dean was dispossessed there, crowd wanted a hold, and with the ball in dispute, the umpire might well blow the whistle and call for a ball up, but left half forward or right half forward, depending which way you're watching this game here, for South Morang. Umpire throws it up again as Keys won it down, but looked like it was trapped there initially. I think it was Shelton who couldn't take possession, but then laid a really good tackle to apply some pressure. The ball now right in the heart of the Whittlesea Showgrounds, and it's in the hands of the St Mary's man in Lucci, who handballed to a teammate under the pump. Just got it out to Isaac Edger, who's been good again in this second term. He got it out to Dean, and now they're moving through Derham, and his handball over the top releases a teammate in Gedge. He got it on further to Johnston, who kicks into the pocket. Lovely transition, and the mark taken overhead by Toby O'Meara, who just got a bit of attention as he went to ground there as well from Robinson, but the former Reservoir Premiership player, the ex-Reservoir and Pascoe Vale man, of course, made his way over to St Mary's earlier this season. Started the year, I think, out at Wallen, but has played 5 games. In fact, more than 5 with the Borough this year. Kicked 23 goals for the Borough, I should say.
Yeah, and he's 45 degrees out on a 40-degree angle, kicking into a slight breeze. This will be a difficult shot.
This will be a heartbreaker if it goes in for South Morang. They could ill afford to cough up the first goal of this second term as O'Meara shoots towards goal. It's across the face. It's marked. It's marked by a St Mary's man on the goal line, in between the two behind the goal post and the behind post, and they'll get a shot now. I think it might be Dean who's taken this mark, and he'll shoot from the pocket, hemmed up on the boundary line. He opens up the angle and he hits the post there. So unfortunate for the Borough there. That one cannoning into the behind post as St Mary's goes to 5-5-35. South Morang 1-1-7, and the long kick out comes off hands. There'll be a throw in, 60 out from the St Mary's goal. 5-5-35 the Borough. South Morang 1-1-7 as the umpire now prepares to throw the ball back into play. And throwing it in is Harrison doing the ruck work for South Morang. Line it down to the front, and now a chance for Ben Powell to kick forward for South Morang. The target there was Magamas, off hands. Here's a chance. It was a good handball by Caruso, but it was picked off by Dan Braskus. Got it off to Castanini, who was wrapped up straight away. Now Neshi gets involved. Over to Heatley. Shelton now on 45 has a shot that's going right to the line, but it's wide.
Now, that was a more promising attack by South Morang. Even though they were under pressure, they had men nearby to help, getting the little handball out and running on, and eventually Shelton, even though under pressure, at least had a shot at goal.
So it's 1-2-8 South Morang. St Mary's 5-5-35. Just 3 behinds shared by the teams in this second term. We've now gone 12 minutes as Castanini kicks to himself and goes along to the half-back flank. The 2-on-2 and a strong mark nearly taken in the front. Might have been Ronald who had front spot there at ground level. He's able to pick the ball up and dish a handball out wide. No runners really coming towards him for St Mary's, so it's picked up now, and South Morang have a chance through Neshi. But he was dispossessed, and now Johnston picks the ball up, and it's St Mary's who are charging forward. The kick towards half forward. Ronalds is there, so too his teammate there in Tolley, who just toe pokes inside 50. Then he hacks in the direction of O'Meara. He's got support there in the form of a teammate in Bolorado. Neither could really take possession. South Morang have a chance here to exit their defensive lines. Have done well. Johnston now kicking up towards centre wing, but only as far as Dan Braskus, who takes an easy chest mark and now kicks into the middle for Lucci, who marks overhead. Adam Lucci turns now on that left foot, kicks in the direction of O'Meara, but getting inside and taking a really good mark in front of him. There might be the Dixon who got in front there and took the mark.
Perhaps it was. It was a good, really stretched mark too. And had it got over the back, they would have been in trouble, the Lions.
So the ball's kicked up towards centre wing, where Matt Trim now picks up and he kicks towards 50 out for South Morang. McGarmas, with the ball nearly fell in his lap there, couldn't hold it for long enough. And now a high free kick's paid, and it goes in the direction there of Lee Minners, and Minners has the ball for St Mary's and kicks across the face of his 50, where not able to take the mark. There's Tate. He got himself in a spot of bother, but his quick evasive skills were able to get him out of it. Now he kicks up towards centre wing to a 1-on-1, and at ground level it's St Mary's who get the runners there first. They're now kicking towards attacking 50. Bolorado worked his way to the front. He and O'Meara were beaten by the bounce of the footy there. Johnston is in there for South Morang. He won a handball at the back, and now they've got men in that back line through Power, and now Ryan, who kicks across defensive 50. Trim the target, nearly the contested mark up against Gedge. Will get a free kick.
And Trim's just about been South Morang's best player this afternoon.
He's given them something across that half-back and through centre wing as well. He's probably taken a bit too long, though, on this occasion, so he's forced to go now. Nearly kicked into the man of the mark. Going up there was Edger of St Mary's, couldn't take the mark. Ashby Smith forced to be tackler there. He goes on 2 men this time around as McGarmas, and he's able to lock the ball up for a ball up half forward here for South Morang. They must respond. They've kicked only 1 goal to the 14-minute mark of this second term as Ashby Smith went up in the ruck against Neshi. Neshi won it down to Steele, who threw it in the boot, but the kick was wild and wide, and it's out of bounds on the full.
And once again, St Mary's pressure's been lifted in the last 10 minutes or so, and they've controlled the game that way.
They'd be content with not letting South Morang score here. I know they haven't really scored themselves, but I'm sure when you're leading by 27 points at quarter time, to the scoring in. Not really that the wind blows to the southern end of this ground, but for whatever reason, the club room end tends to see more goals than not. So they are kicking to the northern end in this term, St Mary's, but they did the damage in the first, and as a result, even without scoring a goal in the first 15 minutes of this second term, they lead 1-8 to 5-5-35.
Yeah, and if this second quarter was a stalemate, St Mary's Conborg and his coaching could be very happy with that, to go in at half-time with a 4-goal-plus lead.
As Castanini kicked long, Trim went up, but he couldn't quite take the mark, slipped through his grasp, still won a handball back to Sulliston, but then got it into Neshi. Neshi now kicks South Morang to the hot spot. Who's going to fly? Capici ran under the footy there at the back. Dambrascus is the only man down for St Mary's. He overran the ball too. Castanini showed great support. First a bump, then to get the kick up the line. His teammate not able to take the mark on that far wing. That looked to be, was it Bolroto, in fact. And now it's a great interception here. Here's a chance for South Morang. The flying shot on goal. Will it go right to the line, but it's off hands for a minor score. And there was Dixon who had that flying shot on goal.
And Nick Dean was back to knock it through for a minor score.
He's been in the thick of plenty so far today, Nick Dean. South Morang 1-3-9. St Mary's 5-5-35. 16 played second quarter. And it's Castanini again who kicks to himself and then goes long out of defensive 50. Haven't really been able to take a mark at half-back this quarter, but they keep getting numbers to the contest. So they're moving again, and now through centre wing. It's a lovely kick to Edger, who's got a ton of space. He's got a runner over the top. This might well be a coast-to-coast play for the Borough if the ball sits up. It didn't quite. Now a chance as the ball's handballed back to Edger. Shot on goal. Well, it was paid incorrect disposal. The St Mary's man just could not pick up that bouncing footy. I think it might have been was it Dober who couldn't pick it up, and it was a great defensive bit of work there for South Morang that denied a certain goal.
I think it was Dober, and had he been able to pick it up cleanly, he could have run into the open goal.
So an opportunity goes begging there for St Mary's.
And South Morang would love to make this a virtual 12-point play. Take it down the other end and score a goal themselves and get themselves back into the game.
Well, they'll have to run the ball the length of the field because they're still hemmed up at half-back here, and they've just been able to short it up the line at the moment. In the hands of Daniel Heatley, the 2011 Premiership captain, who kicks centrally, and he's found Meredith. But they're just chipping. Every kick's just a 15-metre chip pass. This time goes back to Heatley. In front of the scoreboard here at the Whittlesea Showgrounds, 35 plays 9. Now he works up the line where he's got Neshi 30 metres up the line.
Yeah, this is far better. They're moving it slowly. At least they're keeping possession, unlike before when they've been blazing away and just kicking straight to an opponent.
Well, now they've gone long and the ball bounced into the path of Capici. Couldn't hold it cleanly. Picked up there and taken away by Minners. And now St Mary's work forward through Lucci. The kick towards half forward. How will it bounce? Not that kindly though for the man there in Gordon, but he did really well with support to paddle towards a teammate. The boundary line beats all comers though, and there'll be a throw-in on centre wing.
And St Mary's have been very good across half-back. They've either intercepted the mark, they've created a contest and won the ball.
So the ball's thrown back into play right on centre wing, far side of the ground in front of the St Mary's interchange bench. They kick themselves inside forward 50. Bolrado has to fly against 3, and getting back to take the intercept mark for South Morang was Harley Ryan, and now he's worked the ball across the switch. He gets it over to Craig Meredith, who can kick towards centre wing, but his kick had too much on it. It was a undisciplined act though there. It might have been Walsko who pushed Dixon after he kicked it, in fact Meredith, and it means that South Morang get an easy ball on centre wing through Houston. His kick was touched in air by Ronalds, who was able to just intercept there as the pack emerges for a throw in. I reckon Conborg would be pretty disappointed there with Walsko's effort. They would have intercepted the ball on centre wing, and he just gave a really undisciplined free kick at half forward. So a chance here for South Morang through Shelton, who we know likes to use the left foot. He wheeled into trouble there, got a handball. Now a flying shot on goal from Dixon was always missing near side. And it's now we reach the 19-minute mark of this second quarter, and they've finally reached double digits. South Morang, they're 1-4-10. St Mary's 5-5-35. Still no goals in this second quarter.
And South Morang are in the game this quarter, but they need to start converting on the scoreboard if they're going to get back into this game. They'd really like to be 1 or 2 goals closer at half time.
They're 4 behind for the term. As St Mary's have only kicked the one behind as they kick the ball back into play here. Forced to spoil from behind there was Daisley of St Mary's. The ball now pinging forward St Mary's way as Ronalds leads the foot race. He gets his head over the ball. He's been fantastic there. He's beaten 3 opponents and he wheels a handball, and now St Mary's can drive towards half forward. Edger will be the target here against Harley Ryan, who can keep their feet. Harley Ryan did. Edger went to ground, and it meant the experienced Lions defender was able to pick the ball up on centre wing. He drives to half forward, going one-handed there, but doing well was Houston. He kept the ball running and he kicks it inside. Capici the target. Couldn't quite take possession at ground level. He handballs one out back to Houston. Now on attacking 50. Can he have a shot? He kicks in towards McGarmers.
And that was the best passage of play all day for South Morang as Magarmes lines up from around about 30 on a very, very slight angle.
I think it might have been Caruso eventually who kicked that ball inside 50. It was a lovely pass for Magarmes, who again just had front spot. And as you said in the first quarter, if you lose front spot against Magarmes, you'll find it very hard to spoil around him. He's just such a solid figure.
That's right. And Caruso also showing his classy skills, and they need more of that from him.
So for the first goal of the second term, we've now ticked into time on Magarmes. It's a very slow approach. He'll be kicking from 30 at very slight angle. South Morang's leading goal scorer for the year, and he's put through his second. Magarmes has 2, South Morang has 2, and they are now 2 goals for 16. St Mary's 5-5-35. Understatement to say that was a much needed goal for the Lions.
It was. You almost felt like, Samuel, that they needed to get that first goal to actually be in the contest, even though it's a long, long way to go. But that was such a critical goal for them.
It all started with Harley Ryan in defence, and he was able to keep his feet in that crucial one-on-one. And in wet conditions, if you go to the ground, you're just out of the contest, aren't you? So,
and his long kick also put Houston into good space, even though it didn't directly relate to a goal. It gave his team the advantage.
As St Mary's, Keys was able to just grab the ball out of the ruck and kick it forward 50 metres, and O'Meara and also Bolrada weren't able to keep the ball in play, but a nice bit of work there. Harrison just mistimed his jump in the middle for South Morang, so it's a 19-point advantage to St Mary's. They kicked 5 goals to 1 in the first quarter. It's 1 goal to 0 in South Morang's favour in this term, but St Mary's will be content with where they sit at the moment as the ball's now in dispute. A handball came out wide and picked up and kicked towards goal by Golden, but it was wide, and might well have just hit a young fella behind the fence there walking in the path of the ball, but fortunately no damage done, and the ball will be brought back in by Celestin.
And the pressure in the defence there, excellent by South Morang in that occasion.
As the kick up the line was, the teammate slipped over a chance here. Flying shot on goal goes across the face after intercepting the mark. That was Goulden again, it looked. And a minor score for St Mary's, who moves to 5-6-36. South Morang 2-4-16. That was just unfortunate for South Morang that Celestin's kick went to a man who slipped over right as the ball was being kicked towards him.
That's right, the kick was good. But quite a few times, South Morang have kicked, and they've done it again. Kicked, and an opponent has marked the ball on the chest.
Well, Celestin there, his kick was poor, it was intercepted, but he was really good to then intercept the next kick by Wolsko. Now he's got the ball right on defensive 50. He hesitates, he handballs to Heatley, who now has to get through a tackle. He couldn't quite. He didn't really get a foot to that ball. He was fortunate to get away with that one. And then there'll be a ball up 55 metres out from St Mary's goal.
That was almost a shot at goal, or a shot from around about the 50-metre mark there, but he was lucky Heatley got away with it.
As it's picked up at ground level by the man in Goulden, who kicks towards forward 30. Flying for the mark there was Bolrada, but a good spoil came from behind by Ben Power, and there'll be a throw-in. 30 out from St Mary's goal. They're still on the hunt for their first goal of this second term.
And Nick Johnson has gone back to defence, and the whole defence for South Morang has tightened up this quarter.
So the ball now to be brought back into play. Doing the ruck work for St Mary's was Dober. He slapped towards the boundary line again. And the ball was actually kept in, so a shot on goal from the pocket is there. Something out of nothing there for St Mary's. And again, it looks to be Dylan Ronalds from the boundary line there. He was able to keep the ball in. I think
it is Dylan Ronalds.
Most of the South Morang players had just stopped thinking that ball was going out of bounds. They switched off. He picked it up right on the boundary line. He turned onto the non-preferred left, and he wheeled in a beauty from the forward pocket, and that one really hurts the Lions. South Morang 2-4-16. St Mary's now 6-6-42.
And that's 2 goals from right out on the boundary that he's kicked, 1 at each end.
And both from boundary throw-ins as well. So Dylan Ronalds, he's been the best player on the ground so far in this first semi-final, and he's kicked 2 goals. to match Kane McGarmer's at the other end. 16 plays 42 as Harrison this time grabs it out of the ruck. He kicks his side towards half forward. The big spoil came from behind and now at ground level picked up by the man in Derham, who handballed back to Ronalds, who's just plonked himself behind the ball for the time being. It's a ball in dispute on centre wing and off hands. The ball is out of bounds as the St Mary's faithful are getting pretty vocal on that far side.
Yeah, they are, and they'd be pretty excited about being 26 points in front in the midway to late in the second term as well. As
free kick's being plucked out of this contest, and it's going St Mary's way for a hold, and it's Ryan Keys who's been the best ruckman. This is going to be reversed, so that was silly. That was silly there. That was against Isaac Edger, who just ran through the man, the South Morang man who'd originally given away the free kick.
Yeah,
so
Paul Harrison.
Harrison now gets the ball at centre wing for South Morang. He kicks towards Potter, who's been almost non-existent in this game so far. Haven't really called his name. He couldn't take the mark. Falls to the front of the pack. Caruso on 50. Has a flying shot on goal. This is going to bounce through. No. He got the unkind bounce.
It took a Shane Warne leg break. It looked like it was going to bounce through, but unfortunately it just barely missed. Just went the wrong side of the post.
Well, I think that bounce, and you also heard a big sigh of relief there from young Isaac Edger. If that had gone through, I reckon Conborg might have torn strips off him there for that reverse free kick. So Castanini again brings the ball in for the 5th time this quarter. It's a strong mark.
Big pack mark there. And I'm not sure who it is.
It looks like to mine it might be DuPont, who flew over the pack there and took the mark at half back. He kicks towards centre wing. His target there was Dober. Will this one stay in play? It won't. So Daniel Dober just watches it trickle out of bounds on centre wing. 17 plays 42. St Mary's with the lead. We've gone close to 26 minutes in this second term. 6 goals to 2 for the half for the Borough as the ball's brought back into play and intercepted. Here's a chance for South Morang. No, it's a dispossessed player there and picked up by Harrison. Harrison's kick was partially smothered. It'll still work its way to forward 50, but it's St Mary's with the 3-on-1 here, and Ryan Keys, who's standing now behind the footy, dished the handball out wide, and the short kick is a good one. They can now move through Dan Braskus, who's generally a good user of the football. Kicked it up the line. A good spoil over the top though by Watson. He jumped over Goulden and fisted it out of bounds. There'll be a throw-in at right half forward for the Borough.
And it was smart played by Dan Braxis. His teammate was under pressure. He just went out wide into space, and it was an easy little chip kick out to relieve the pressure.
As the ball brought back into play, Watson is there. He might be one who goes forward in the second half. We know he can score goals. Watson, he kicked 6 a couple of weeks ago. So the ball in dispute in the middle of the ground. There'll be a holding free kick to St Mary's here, and advantage not paid. So the ball goes back into the middle of the ground, where I think the free kick might have been paid. Is it to DuPont? No, he's now dishing it off to a teammate. So it's
Tate,
in the hands of Reagan Tate. So Tate right in the middle of the ground now, kicks along towards attacking 30. Who's going to fly high? As Johnston got up for South Morang, couldn't take the mark. Costanzo's lurking dangerously there. He might get involved here. No, Mitch Buckley got there first. Handballed out to Sulliston, whose kick out wide was shocking. It's out of bounds on the full. St Mary's to bring the ball back in. 55 out from their attacking goal. They're going to go quickly though, straight to the hot spot. O'Meara's got a good run at it. He was blocked out here. He might get a free kick. No, it's against him for a push in the back, an unrealistic attempt, and the free kick will go to Robinson.
And Robinson's been fantastic again, as he has been late in the season. He's done his job.
Yeah, really dour defender, Robinson. He's missed just 3 games in the past 2 seasons, so he's really cemented his place in this South Morang lineup. He won't take his kick though, because the siren has sounded to call in half-time, and at the main break it is St Mary's who will take a handy advantage into the second half. The Borough 6 goals 6-42, South Morang 2-5-17. Doug Long, a fantastic half of football here for the St Mary's Footy Club.
They would be absolutely wrapped with that, Samuel. They would be, in fact, they would be probably happy if they were goal up, but to be 25 points up at half-time was fantastic. South Morang came at them in that quarter. South Morang's intensity lifted, their pressure was better, their defence was much better. What let them down, however, was when they did get out in the clear and transfer play, they weren't able to spot up targets, particularly from centre forward to around about centre half forward. Quite often you'd see a St Mary's player mark on his chest all on his own because the kick was errant.
Well, the first quarter was certainly dominated by St Mary's. They led at quarter time, 34-6. That quarter there, as you say, the game certainly evened up, but South Morang just unable to hit the targets like St Mary's was in that first half. And in the end, while South Morang, you'd say, had the better of that quarter, they could only manage 1 goal 5 at the other end. St Mary's the 1 goal 2, and that late goal to Dylan Ronalds at the 22-minute mark, in fact 23rd minute mark, that was a really crucial goal in the context of this game.
That was, and St Mary's almost didn't look like scoring a goal that quarter, but that was virtually a goal out of nothing, and they're the sort of things that win finals matches for you.
And it just goes to show, it's just a few moments lapses, hasn't it been for South Morang? Twice now Ronalds has been able to kick goals from boundary throw-ins. You just can't afford to lapse when you think the ball might be going out of bounds. We also saw it when there was that paddle from the pocket as well, which led to another goal as well. I think maybe to Bolorado when the ball eventually got centred, but you just can't switch off in a final because you'll be made to pay by a side that's playing some pretty good footy. So at the main break, South Morang 2-5-17, St Mary's 6-6-42. The goal scorers for South Morang, well, they've had just the one goal kicker so far. Kane McGarmis has 2.